Kira is doing a silly day, Nana's Fun Day. And this Thursday, we're going to make funny puppets because humor is part of healing. Do you know that humor can help you relax, reduce your blood pressure? Yes, it can. And I'm going to show you some really fun puppets that I've made and help you make one for yourself for resilience and healing. This is a gamelan. It's a musical instrument from Java, Indonesia, and isn't it beautiful? And this is another musical instrument I got in Bali. It's a frog. Isn't that wonderful? So what does music and puppets, what does that have to do with healing? A lot. And if you think about it, in many cultures, I got this in Bali too, and this is called a rod puppet. And in many cultures, puppetry is used to tell stories of resilience and hope and overcoming obstacles. And so today we are going to make a little puppet or two. This depends on how much time we have. And you can make it as silly as you want because today is Nana Kira's Fun Day. So, you want to have a little fun? Oh, here's one more puppet. This is a really funny puppet. This is actually a shadow puppet. You know what a shadow puppet is? I'll show you. Shadow puppets where the sun shines on it and you make a shadow on the wall. And you can make the hands go up and down like it's walking. See how that goes? So that's another puppet from Indonesia. Here's a puppet that I made for a video I have called Why Mosquitoes Buzz in People's Ears. It's based on a West African folktale, and it's the same thing. It's about resilience. It's about overcoming sadness, which a lot of us need these days, right? And this is Monkey. Well, Monkey makes a mistake. He goes to warn his friends, but he jumps on a branch and breaks the branch and it kills the baby owl, and you're very sad, aren't you? Yes, you're sad. But you didn't mean it. No. So how are you going to make it better? You have to think on that. So compassion is love in action, right? As my friend Felicia says. Life is sad sometimes, right? So puppetry can help you deal with sadness, illness, stress. When I was in the hospital, humor was really important to me. People used to say, what can I do to help you? And I would tell them, please send funny cards. And my family would put those funny cards all around the walls by my hospital bed. I was in the hospital a long time. I had cancer, but I'm well now. So today, we're going to make a puppet. And I want to show you two ways to make it, depending on how much time you have, how much energy you have, how confident you feel. I'm going to show you a really, really easy one and one not so easy. This is an old sweater. See that? And I did is I cut the sleeve of this sweater. I just cut the sleeve right off. See? This is the other sleeve. And I took that sleeve and I used it to make the head and the body of Lulabelle Boing Boing. I think it's really important to make up funny, silly names. Kids love it, and adults forget that humor is really important. No, you don't. Yes, I do. Yes, you don't. Yes. And look, she has a heart for a tongue. So, I think we need to make her a little prettier. So what I did was I took that sleeve of the sweater and cut out a piece of felt for the mouth. See that? And I took a piece of cardboard and cut the cardboard out the same size as this. And then I put it inside, and I folded the part of my sleeve, my sweater sleeve, over it. And then Deanne helped me cut the mouth to make it look like a little girl, right? Or maybe it's a lady. And of course she needed a heart tongue. So, and some silly hair. So you can use yarn for hair. You can use feathers. Feathers are fun. And you can get them from the dollar store. You can get them from Michael's. Or even maybe you have a lei, an old plastic lei. Anything that's fun and funny. I even went on a walk and picked some weeds, and that made a really funny hair. So Deanna and I were talking, and we think that these are the eyes made out of an egg carton. So let me show you. You know how you have an egg carton that looks like this? Well, when you open it up, it has these pointy things in it. And so one way you can make a face is like this. You just cut it off of here, and then you make the little eyes, and you can glue, or you can paint, or you can just use markers to make the eyes. Isn't that cool? Beak, 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 beak. It looks like a bird to me. And what do you look like? I think she's just a monster, a silly monster. So what do you think if I should make her eyes? So this is from the cardboard, her two eyes. And I'm thinking I might glue this glass onto there. One thing about glass that I talk often in my tutorials is glass for humans catches the light. Anything that catches light attracts humans. Well, it sometimes attracts birds too, right? If you ever have been in the living room and your bird might run into the window, it's really important to be careful for the poor birdie. So I'm just going to glue. Are you getting this? I'm going to glue the eyes. See how much cuter it is if the light catches it? And you can move your hand around inside the sock. And the feathers, the more you put on there, the more fun it is. And if you don't have feathers, that's okay. Use your imagination. It's really fun. You can go outside and get some funny leaves off a tree or things like that. So do you think she needs a nose? I think maybe. Should we make it red? Where should we put it? Should we put the nose right there? Let's see. I'm using a hot glue gun. So if you're not experienced with hot glue, you can use other kinds of glue. Just you have to be really careful, because you know what? Nana Kira actually burned herself the other day. It was really scary. And I was trying to be careful. So hot glue can be challenging. So I'm suggesting that you use other kinds of glue if you've never used a hot glue gun before. There's this glue. There's, where's that sewing glue? There's this glue. So these are kinds of things you can do and not risk burning yourself unless you're really careful. Now, one thing I really feel is using all the senses. So this is some rose water, which smells really good. And this is some lavender. So say you're doing this and you want your puppet to help your child go to sleep. You could spray it, spray yourself too, with a lavender essential oil spray. Easy to get at the drugstore or even make yourself if you have some lavender. Oh, that smells wonderful and relaxing. And that's what you want, relaxing. So I wanted to show you what's next with Lulabelle Boing Boing. And she has a hand. You see the hand? It's like a mitten. Oh, quit eating your hand. So it's really easy to do. and it adds a lot of humor. That's why it's called a rod puppet. So they have rods sometimes inside, and sometimes you use a rod to make the hand, right? So what we're going to do, and what I did with her, is I made 2 mittens, and I attached one with hot glue, or you can sew it, to her body, and then I used a piece of felt, just a strip, with a ribbon for the arm. See how cute that is? It's really easy. You don't have to sew. So you can take a string, ribbon, old belt, anything like that, like this, and you cut it in half and you have your arms, right? And then I have some felt here. You need to make four little hands. So you can make either the mittens like I did with that, with the 3 fingers and the thumb, or you can just make, you know how a mitten is just round with 1 thumb? And that's what I'm going to do with this because it's really easy. So why don't you come down here and see how it's looking on this. So I'm going to just draw a mitten. So here's the thumb, and here is the mitten. And here's the wrist. See that? And so what I'll do is I'll cut this out first. I'll cut 2 out because I folded it. See how it's folded? So I'm cutting out the mitten. There were 3 little kittens, they lost their mittens, and Hay began to cry. So fairy tales are really fun to do with puppetry, right? And have you ever wondered why there's so many fairy tales? It's the same thing. Fairy tales teach resilience. They make us feel we can overcome things. And the thing about puppetry is that people will forgive puppets if their eyes are crooked, or if their clothes don't match, or if they fall apart. It doesn't matter. So here now we have 4 little hands, a left hand and a right hand. And they're not perfect, but that's okay. I don't mind. I guess I could make it a little bit smaller. There. So now I'm going to take this, and I'm going to take this strip, this belt. I'm going to cut the belt in half. And I'm going to take this hand. I'm going to put the strip right here. I'm going to glue it, hot glue it because it's faster. And then I'm going to take a chopstick. See my chopstick? And I'm going to put the chopstick in the middle and glue that in the middle of this hand. And I'm going to put glue around the mitten to make it stiffer. So the glue does 2 things. It makes it stiffer, more stiff, I guess you might say. And it also holds it in place and glues it, which is what it's for, right? See that? Felt is really nice because it insulates so it's not so hot. As long as you keep your fingers away from it, right? So there's a little mitten, and there's the arm of the puppet. So here I attached it to a shish kebab stick, but you can use whatever stick. Deanne just found a stick when she was walking along the road. We have to make another puppet, right? So let's put, what was her name? Lullabelle Boing Boing. Why do you think I called her that? Because we have to be silly sometime, right? And she does kind of look like she's boinging, boinging, boinging. So let's say, where is it? So did anybody besides me get a sock like this from the hospital? Or maybe you have an old sock that's clean around the house. You can get it now, and I'll show you how to make a really easy puppet. So here's one that's already partially made. So one thing about making art from things around the house that's really important and people forget is that if you make it meaningful, if you put Grandma Rose's brooch on it, or if you put your lost earring, the one that's not lost on it. This is a little bracelet that says love on it. See that love? So those kind of things make it more meaningful. So what I did is I have this elastic bracelet and I have this sock on my hand. I'm taking the sock and I'm pushing it between my fingers and my thumb. You see that? Then I'm taking this bracelet and I'm making her have a hairstyle. Woo! She's a styling. So you see it's starting to get a really easy puppet. When I was a little girl, I remember making puppets out of all kinds of silly things. I don't know why that is, but I guess I had a pretty good imagination. We didn't have much money. So there's stars and dots. You see that? I was looking at that, and I don't know if I can do this with it on my hand, but I'm going to try. I'm going to make a couple of eyes on the dots. Can you see that? And then maybe some eyelashes, because maybe she's a girl puppet. And then maybe she needs a pupil. Good way to teach kids what a pupil is. And an iris, huh? So would an iris be like this then? You know, if you look closely at your eyes, they do have lines in them, right? So that's what an iris looks like. Sort of. Now, another thing you could do is you can sew. Anybody like to sew? You can sew a button on the eyes or on the nose. You see that? And I have needle and thread, but it's going to be hard to sew with one hand. I'll have to take it off. So what else do you think I should put on her? I think her eyes need to be a little more defined. So I'm going to make her eyes bigger. So one of the things about puppetry and dolls is that if you make eyes and noses and things bigger than normal, it's funnier and cute often. And that's because we are drawn toward people and animals like rabbits with big eyes. I'm going to make a little nose here. See that? And so then I could make a little mouth, right? Why don't we make this like a cat or something? See how easy, even if you think you're not an artist, if you break everything down into shapes, the eyes are circles, the nose is a triangle, the mouth of an animal is a half circle. So if you break it down like that, it's much easier to think of yourself being able to do art. And that is really important because so many people didn't get art in school and they feel incompetent, like they can't do it. So there you go. Now I'm going to take the little headband and put it, this time I have it on my left hand. My puppets are ambidextrous, right? I can be left or right. But it's funny because this sock says L and this sock says L. And doesn't that mean left? They must have given me 2 left feet in the hospital, huh? So that's there's one puppet you can make. Really cute. So here's our little puppet. It's still in process. And I cut this little piece of felt to go into his mouth. Boop, boop, boop. And I'm going to just glue the top of it and leave the bottom. It could be a tongue, right? I'm just going to hot glue it for speed. Can't see it. So I'm going to hot glue this in there. And there's my thumb and my fingers. There's the mouth. And you can put a tongue in there. You can use this little thing as a tongue. I think this guy needs some hair or little feathers. So I'm going to put the feathers right here underneath this band that I have, the bracelet, right? But you could glue it or sew it. Really easy to sew. A couple of stitches and that's all you need. So I think it needs a little more definition in the mouth. Right? So I am going to make more of a dark line around my fingers, like I'm going down this finger. I'm going down this thumb. I'm going over like this. Now you can use a paint excuse me, a paintbrush, or you can use markers. Markers, permanent markers, or paint. They also have this thing called a paint pen, and that is really fun to use. And so I'm also making the bottom part of his mouth. Kind of looks like a little doggy. You can ask the kid or ask your own inner kid, what animal is your totem animal? Maybe you want to make your totem animal. How's that for cuteness? I'm a little cutie. We'll have to figure out what a funny name, right? So that's about it. I'm going to wrap it up here, and you're all ready to go, and you have a rod puppet, and it's ready to sing and be humorous and fun and make your own stories of resilience and healing.